You could spend a whole year living next door to your neighbor. You never talk to your neighbor yet. You don't know who your neighbor is. Do you know your name? In the village, there will be electricity. There will be excitement because of Allah's creation. Allah created us to live like this with constant interaction. The houses of the Muslim village would be such that villagers would be advised to adhere to simplicity and austerity, which is the sunnah in the construction of houses. No one should flaunt his wealth by building a mansion, building a palace. Villagers would be encouraged, would be assisted in the effort to build houses which would, as much as is possible, be in harmony with nature. And so you probably would not need air conditioning. A toilet. I seem to remember that when you enter a toilet, you have to enter with your left foot. Is it true? Come on, shake your head, the man. Huh? When you enter a toilet, you have to enter with your left foot? Yes or no? Yes, say it, yes. Why? Because it's an unclean place, isn't it? So angels will not enter the unclean place, would they? The shayateen will go there, the jinn will go there, but the angels will not go in the unclean place, huh? Well, what happens if you take the toilet from outside the house and bring it inside the house? How come you're so quiet now? You take the toilet from outside the house where it used to be yesterday. Nobody, unless he be someone fit for sentence, nobody yesterday would build a house with the toilet inside the house. No. Because the house has to be pure, clean. You leave your shoes outside, don't you? You leave your shoes outside. So who would leave his shoe outside but put the toilet inside? You understand now? The mastermind who was at work, he took us for a ride, didn't he? Because I don't think the angels will enter a house in which one part of the house is unclean. But that's my opinion. And so in the village, we try to build our houses in accordance with the sunnah. And that is that the toilet is detached from the house. The masjid. The village will have only one masjid. It will be located in the center of the residential area. The Blessed Prophet ﷺ said, I leave behind me two things. So long as you hold on to them, you'll never go astray. The Book of Allah and my Sunnah. As a consequence, we will try as best as we can to ensure that the religious life in the masjid is firmly based on the Quran and the Sunnah. Listen to me carefully now. If there is a religious practice which is manifestly beneficial, but it is not based firmly on the Quran and Sunnah, then we would urge that it be restricted to private life and not be brought into the public life of the masjid in order to protect ourselves from fitna, people attacking us and seeking to divide us over peanuts. The village must have a market. Now this is the most difficult part of all, the market. The village would have its own market. We build the market and the stalls are all free. Anyone can come to the market and buy and sell. Anyone can put his goods on sale in the market. People from outside of the village would be encouraged to come to the market and to buy their goods from the market. All the produce which is sold in the market would be organic. Organic farming, organic dairy products and so on. So it is the purest possible food. We'll come back to that in a short while, inshallah. Market prices will be carefully monitored in order to ensure that the market remains a free and a fair market. You'll be surprised to know some of the most advanced scholars in the field at the State University of New York in Binghamton have come to the conclusion that the last free and fair market that the world ever had was the market of the Ottoman Islamic Empire before they destroyed the Caliphate. But when we hold a lecture on riba, inshallah, this subject would be explained. Eventually, the village would restore sunnah money to the market. But I don't want to confuse you today, so we're not going to take up that subject. But that subject will be explained, inshallah, next month when we have the lecture on Islam and the international monetary system. Cemetery. Isn't it sunnah to go to the cemetery, to remember those who have died, to make dua for them? It is sunnah. The modern godless world builds its cities in such a way that the cemetery is located far away. So you seldom ever go to the cemetery except when you have to bury somebody. But we would build our cemetery in the village somewhere contiguous with the residential area. So people, while walking to and from the masjid, can frequently visit the cemetery and remember death. Remember death. And so prepare for that day when instead of walking to the cemetery, we'll have to be carried to the cemetery. Schools. The village must eventually establish its own primary school. A number of villages can combine to establish a secondary school. Contrary to the existing Muslim school system in this country, the Muslim school in the village would not accept any state funding. And hence it would not be subject to any state control. Education would be based entirely on the system constructed by the village itself. There will be no division between secular education and religious education. So morning you go to school and evening you go maktab. No, we don't want to create people with dual personalities. Rather, all will combine in the school and be brought together as a harmonious whole, and we insist that the Quran be the fountainhead, the foundation of all knowledge and all education. But this is Maulana Siddiq Nasir's work and the Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah Institute. But in addition to teaching in schools, children, and general education for people, villagers, we need to do something more. We need to produce our scholars, because Allah Himself speaks in the Quran about the ulama. And if He speaks about the ulama, you're going to pay a price if you do not struggle to create your learned scholars. And learned scholars don't have to be men as well alone. Learned scholars can be both men as well as women. And so the villages combining together must ensure that an institution of higher Islamic learning, an institution of higher Islamic learning is established, like what Maulana Ansari established in Pakistan, the Alimia Institute of Islamic Studies, which produced Maulana Siddiq Nasir, Sheikh Ali Mustafa, who is here, Maulana Wafi Muhammad, myself, and others. This would train our people so we can produce the scholars, the ulama, who will be able to teach and to guide our people in the generations to come. Agriculture. The village must produce its own food. Why? Because Suratul Kahf of the Quran has guided us to that, which would, as much as is possible, be in harmony with nature. And so you probably would not need air conditioning. A toilet. I seem to remember, which is the sunnah in the construction of houses. No one should flaunt his wealth by building a mansion, building a palace. Villages would be encouraged, would be assisted in the effort to build houses. You could spend a whole year living next door to your neighbor. You never talk to your neighbor yet. You don't know who your neighbor is. Do you know your name? In the village, there will be electricity. There will be excitement because of Allah's creation. Allah created us to live like this with constant interaction. The houses of the Muslim village would be such that villagers would be advised to adhere to simplicity and austerity. That when you enter a toilet, you have to enter with your left foot. Is it true? Come on, shake your head, the man. Huh? When you enter a toilet, you have to enter with your left foot? Yes or no? Yes, say it, yes. Why? Because it's an unclean place, isn't it?